Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, in the last episode, we added the Cleric's Church to the village, and today I want to one-up that build by constructing a library for the Librarian Villager. So grab your snacks and drinks because I've got a good feeling about this one, and remember to give a gentle tap to that like button and perhaps leave a comment about something later on in the video. And if you don't know what to say, you can still boost me in the algorithm by just saying algo support. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we just get right into the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the village here, and first off, I'd just like to say big thanks for all the support you guys left on the last video. I mean, I know it was kind of an important video where we made a really large build, but today, just to thank you guys, I want to go even bigger. And today's the day we build the last villager profession building, and you guys have seen the title, you know we're going to be spending our time
at the library!
Yes, thank you for that introduction, Sokka, and we need a large place to build this thing because it's going to be a big build. In fact, it's going to be even bigger than the church. And so I've decided that we need to use the only piece of plains we have left over here by the desert, which is this small little piece of land right here. And so I've gathered up another small shulker monster that we're going to get going over here. Oh, shulker monster, you'll follow me to the end of time, won't you? And so first off, let's just grab a few things from our shulker monster here and create a foundation. And so to give my thoughts for the planning on this build, I want this central room with a giant library with bookcases reaching all the way up to the ceiling, and the ceiling to be kind of a glass dome. And just to add some size to the build, I'm going to add these two symmetrical wings just to give that library feel and balance out how big the central structure is going to be. Alrighty, now that we've got the foundation of this thing down, I want the front facade to be really impressive. Get something like 10 blocks will probably do the trick. I think that's definitely going to be tall enough. Now with the last build, we used a lot of stone because the original church is mostly stone, but I want to bring back some of the wood elements from my other builds. And so I'm just going to frame out a giant window here with some sproche logs. I think that should do the trick and be a wide enough window. And I tell you guys a lot about using depth to your advantage in builds like this. And so I'm going to use walls to create a little bit of depth. This way we get a little bit of a nicer transition from this pillar right here to the wood. Now depth is going to be our friend. So I want to add some stone bricks with some stairs here just to make that face a little bit more interesting. And then I think I want to frame the window in using some walls. And unfortunately, we don't have any wooden walls. I'd love to see walls in the form of like spruce logs, that kind of thing, but we're going to use some nether brick just because it's a similar color. But for the windows themselves, I'd like to use a combination of alternating some white and light gray stained glass because I think it'll be a bit more interesting than just using one straight color. Oh yeah, that's a great looking window, and actually I think we can add some more details to it. For instance, what if we add a central pillar here just to add some more support to the window itself, and then we do some fence gates here. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that's definitely the vibe we're going for here. Now, next up, we're gonna need a trim for the roof of this thing, and I've been thinking, with these other houses, we've used a lot of spruce in the past. But for these more recent builds, I've introduced some dark oak. Since I want to do something pretty interesting with the roof of this one, I'm just gonna go with some slabs going all the way up instead of using stairs the way we usually do. This way we'll have a way less steep roof, but I think that'll be appropriate for the library. Okay, I added some spiky action, and I think that's looking pretty good. We could probably move on from the front facade here and start working on the sides a bit. And so for these sides, I want them to be perfectly symmetrical, so we're going to build up one in its entirety, and then we'll just time-lapse the other half probably. And as you guys can see, I've got these blocks here in each of these four corners that might seem a bit confusing, but I was so happy with that 3x3 tower that you guys seem to like in the last video that I figured, you know, I'll include some of those in this build as well. So the plan's really simple. We're going to start this as a 1x1 and then just bring it out towards a 3x3 eventually here. And so next up here, all we need to do is use the exact design from the church over there, and I'm going to build all four of these and be right back with you guys. Alright, not bad at all. We've got our four towers in, and I think that's looking awesome. And I've actually changed my mind a bit. Before we tackle the sides here, I want to do the backside. And I've gone for this rounded look on the backside here because I want to give some more space to the inside of the library. And the trouble with putting too many windows on here is that we wouldn't have enough space for bookshelves and all the decorating I want to do indoors. But obviously we can't just leave it like an andesite wall like this, so let's spiff it up with just a little bit of detail. So for now, until we move on to the roof, which is going to be a bit more elaborate than what we've done so far, I think it's time to move on to the sides. Also, right close by our build, there's this hole where this cat has gotten trapped, and so I was thinking maybe we could just try to tame this guy since he can't escape. No running away this time. I think first off, we better build some kind of frame here just so we know what we're going off of. But now to the part that gets a little bit complicated. Since we have this window up here, we need an entrance, but I want this to look perfectly symmetrical, so we're going to put 2 big doors on each side. But just so that I know how much space I have to work with, I think I'm going to put in the dark oak trim on this side as well. Alrighty, as you can see, I didn't just build a straight line. In fact, we're going with some smaller A-frames. I guess I'm no better than that cat. I just fell in the same hole. Now to break up some of this stone, we're going to do the same thing we did over here and just add a ton of wood to this thing. And I think we're going to have our door here in this 5x5 section, so I'm just framing it out with some spruce. And this little space in between here, I think we'll just fill it in with some andesite and texture it with cobblestone and some cracked stone brick. I think that's going to work out well. I love how this pillar sticks out from the walls a little bit with the towers. But for the doors, I think I want to do something similar as the windows and just raise up these pillars to get some of that 3D. We're going to use the same trick that I used for the church and just alternate some of this dark oak with some trap doors. Then we just got to replace the bottom trap doors here with some actual doors, and this should look pretty nice. Now we just need a few lanterns to light it up, and I think I need to come up with some kind of window design for up here. So let me get something figured out and I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Now I know what you guys are thinking. These 2 thick logs right here, that's not looking too awesome, and I personally agree, but I kind of did that on purpose so that I could show you guys a trick. Now obviously what this build needs more of is some greenery, so we're just going to mix up some of these spruce leaves and oak leaves and just go for some kind of viney random pattern like this, and then we're going to add ourselves some flower pots. And as you guys know, I love to use poppies, and that should be looking pretty good. We don't even really notice that it's too thick. I think that looks awesome. Now for the other sides here, I think I'm just going to go with big windows because they're not going to have any doors and they're not really going to serve any function inside the library. So big windows are probably going to look pretty cool. And so the best way to get that done is going to be in time-lapse mode. So let's, ladies and gentlemen, roll that quick time-lapse and get some of this finished, and I will be right back. All right, ladies and gents, I think this is looking absolutely beautiful, and as you can see, we added a few of these poppies along every single side. I ran out of flower pots earlier, so I had to go over to Ventia and get some, but now it's looking really, really awesome. And you know, the more I look at this thing, the more excited I am to try to build this dome we're gonna have in the center. And so first off, we gotta address the problem of there being no roof. And so I'm gonna use the brick and granite combo I've been using lately, honestly just to make it fit in with the rest of the village, because otherwise we're taking a risk here with the style, and I want it to fit in as much as possible. And once you get your shape in like this, I actually get a few people who ask me how I do my texturing, and honestly it just comes down to repeating a few shapes. One of the ones I do is this lightning bolt shape, or S shape, whatever you want to call it, kind of like this. And then you can start connecting other texturing to the corners like this. Maybe do 2 here, then you go to this corner and pop 1 in. And using the connecting to the corners technique, you get something looking like this, which I think looks pretty clean and random. And before we do the same thing over on the other side, I just want to mark out right here where we're going to put a flagpole. I want 2 flags on each side of the dome here. I think that'll look cool. Alrighty, the flagpole is in. Now we just have to do the same thing to the other side, and we can start building our dome. Alright, both sides of the roof is in, and I added the flags here, but as you can see, we're still missing the dome in the middle. I've planned it out just a little bit with this dark oak circle. And can I just say how ridiculous it sounds that we're going to build a dome, a circular shape, in a game made of blocks. But nevertheless, that seems to be the case, so let's just get going. Now, this took a lot of testing, a lot of creative test world shenanigans, and I think I've found a design I'm pretty happy with, but oh boy. it took a lot of attempts. So we have to kind of build a circle going up and around this thing. So I've come up 2 blocks, we'll go up another, and then we're going to come 2 blocks across towards the middle, and finally make a cross of 3 blocks up here. Now we just got to do the same thing here on each side and connect up everything. All right, I'd say this is a solid dome shape. Now I kind of want some of these supports going diagonally across like this too, but I think that'll be easier to do once we actually place some of this glass. And so the plan is to do something like this. We'll bring this up across like that. We're going to try to make it as circular as possible. Now to connect up the diagonals, I think we'll go slab, slab on the inside, block. Then we can just fill in the gaps on this layer, move on to the next one here. And this is where we really need it to flatten out. So maybe we'll just go like that and then put another block right here. Let me do this all the way around and we'll see what it looks like. We have got the dome in place and I do say it's looking pretty good already, but just to round it off a little bit, we're going to use some stairs here, maybe add a slab. And all that leaves us with is the top. And I think I just want to do a circle of stairs like this, and we want to come up a block, and then we'll build some kind of spire. Whoa, that looks pretty cool, to be honest. I love that. I mean, yeah, I've got to say, I'm pretty proud of myself when it comes to this one. But the truth is, guys, we're not even close to done, because, I mean, look at the interior here. While it's really cool with the dome and all, it's looking pretty empty. And so while I take care of this so I can show you guys the interior tour later on, I think we gotta address the outside here. So let me fix this place up and connect some paths, and I will be right back with you guys. Alright, so I decided to make the front leading up to the library a bit nicer, and while that's going on, I just wanted to ask you guys, since the next episode's going to be the last one in this area before we return to Ventia, are there more things you'd like to see added to the village? And if so, definitely leave your suggestions down below. I know for a fact that many people want to see a forest with a sawmill in between here and Ventia, and perhaps an inn along the way with many other of your suggestions that I have written down. But let me know if you want to see this area return later on in the series, because there's so much detail we could add and so much that could be done with this place. Because when it comes to the kind of detail that I'm doing right now in the time-lapse, it just takes a lot of time. And there's only so much time I have in each episode to do this decorating, so it would be nice to come back in the future and do a little bit of pertifying. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time I show you the rest I did in first person, so I will see you on the other side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the library is looking awesome here. We get a great view, and there's a ton of details that I added after the time-lapse that I want to show you guys in first person later, but there are a few things we need to fix here around the village before we do that. And for a long time now, we've talked about this empty area right over here and what we're going to do with it, because we can't leave it empty. But one thing we can do is build a cart right here, because I feel like there needs to be more carts in the area. And as I was building this, I kind of realized that there's a party going on up here. What are you guys doing? Ow. You know, I do really enjoy this design of cart. Now at least we have something standing right here, but I think we could add some kind of tree as well. And I want to try doing something I've never done before. Okay, the sun's starting to set on us a little bit, but I think I've spiffed up this area adequately. We got a nice looking little tree here with a new design that I've never tried out before, but I think it worked out very well. And we of course have a way for the cart to back out here so that it doesn't have to run through all the beautiful flowers. And you know, maybe we could add some lighting to this area by putting some lanterns on these fence posts. And you know, I gotta say this area finally doesn't feel totally empty, and I love that. But guys, I got a great suggestion in the comments, so before we go and check out the library, I really want to test this out since we have the shaders on. And the suggestion I got is to hop down the well and use a flame bow down in the large tunnel and just see what it looks like with the dynamic lighting. So let's give this a shot, see what it looks like. Oh, let's try this in F1 mode. Wow. That is so cool. Hats off to the people who made shaders in Minecraft. This looks amazing. I definitely recommend you guys try this when the world download comes out. Oh my goodness. But you know what? Enough with the bow shenanigans. I think it's time we check out this library. And as we turn the corner here, I think that looks so amazing. I really love how this thing is kind of far away because it's so big that it would kind of dwarf the builds in the area otherwise. And as we turn the corner here, as you can see, I added quite a few details to the front. We've got these little rose gardens. We also have a horse that's just kind of horsing around over here. What are you doing, buddy? Are you on a quest for knowledge? Why, yes, sir, Mr. Antlerboy. I wish to be the smartest horse in the realm. Now leave me be, if you please. Okay. Additionally, I added this little fountain over here with some of these quartz blocks and a little spot where you could maybe sit and read outside the library, have a great view of the town. And I gotta say, I love this view of the church. It looks so good with all the fields coming around. I'm not exactly sure how much of this we're going to be covering up with the castle in the next episode, but either way, we're going gonna have something cool to look at, so I guess it's not the end of the world, but it would be really cool if we could see the tower of the church and the castle over here. But yeah, what a lovely little place this is to sit and read out in the sun. And you can get a little sneak peek at what's to come inside the window there. But if we come around this way, this is going to be the main entrance to the library, and this is where the reception is. So we've got the little desk, we've got a really high ceiling with some vines hanging down, and I made a smaller chandelier here just to hint at what's coming. And I really love the idea of having so tall bookshelves that you need ladders to reach them, kind of like in the first Harry Potter movie. Come to think of it, that's actually in the wand shop, but yeah, you know what I mean. But these ladders actually have a secondary function. You can climb up here to these towers on this side and get a great view of the kingdom. For this side, it was kind of the best solution I could come up with, but I guess it works out. And once we turn around, we have the great hall in here with the chandelier hanging down from the dome. And man, this ceiling just looks so awesome. I'm just totally in love with how this room came out overall. We've got tons and tons of seating where you could sit and read or study or whatever you need to do. In fact, I extended the seating area out into this section, which is just the other entrance here. But I'm really happy with how the light shines through the big window here and of course the dome to give this place a really lit up feel. Of course, if you have shaders on, you get all these really awesome shadows. But I think my favorite part about the whole place is this spiral staircase going up to the second floor. I don't know, to me, this is the thing that really makes it feel like the library. And if we come up here, we of course have a few more bookcases, and it leads up to a second floor with a little study room. I think this up here would definitely be my hangout spot if I came to this library. But up here on the top floor, we also have a way to get out onto the other tower balconies here. And hey, Mr. Horse, how you doing?
I'm eating grass, you absolute knobhead, which is the most exciting activity in the world for a horse such as myself.
All right, buddy, there's no need to be rude about it. But like I said, guys, overall, I am so happy with how this turned out, and you're definitely gonna have to tell me in the comments how you feel about this interior. I spent so much time on this, it's crazy. Oh, and I almost forgot about the fact that I did this. I put a little bench over here where this path just ended by the bay before, and so you could sit here and just get a fantastic view of the library. And you know what, guys? I think we're gonna end this off with a little cinematic of the library. But before we roll it, I just wanted to tell you guys about the video I made on my second channel recently. Over there, I tried to beat Pokemon Platinum using only ground-type Pokemon, and if you want to see how that went, you can definitely check out the first video link in the description. And if you're not interested in Pokemon whatsoever, maybe you could just open the link in a new tab and let the video play out muted or something like that, because it would really help me out. Thank you so much. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with this cinematic, and if you watch this video all the way to the end, then you're the champ, and I appreciate your existence. And until we see each other next time, have a good one.